Hi everyone, this is Dr. Leanna Cools. Today is day one of a January 2026's challenge, Anchor Yourself within the Pattern Breakers community. All right, so today we're going to talk about the regulation plan. The objective is to learn what it means to anchor yourself during dating stress, understanding why emotional spikes happen, and why regulation needs to come before clarity and ultimately before you make a decision or react to something. By the end of today, you'll walk away knowing what it means to anchor yourself, common dating triggers, the physiology of dysregulation, why dysregulation sabotages decisions when it comes to dating and relationships, and then understanding what an anchor plan is. All right, so we're going to start with an example. Dawn has been texting someone she's excited about for the past week. They've been responding within an hour. The energy feels mutual, it feels easy, it feels good. And then one day she sends a text in the afternoon, no response that night, no response the next morning. Okay, so now Dawn is checking her phone every few minutes. She's rereading the last few texts. She's looking at the timestamp. She's wondering if her last message sounded weird. Now her thoughts are going haywire. Did I say something wrong? They really didn't want me. I knew I shouldn't have said that. I fucked this up. They're probably talking to somebody else. And now she's feeling the urge to send another text to keep things light, pull back and pretend she doesn't care. Maybe she's scrolling or talking to other people to distract herself, but she wants to do something, anything to stop the discomfort. In other words, she is now activated. All right, let me know if this sounds familiar. You replay the conversation trying to figure out what went wrong. You analyze response times and tones. You type a text, delete it, write it, rewrite it over and over. You swing between fuck this, I'm done, and maybe we can still make this work. You feel embarrassed for caring, but you still care. You send something passive aggressive or you keep a fight just to get reassurance. You pull away, shut down, or push them away so they don't reject you. Okay, so let me make sure we move in this. There we go. All right, so why do we need to anchor ourselves? Dating can activate excitement, anxiety, hope, fear, and urgency. Emotional spikes often happen faster than conscious thoughts. When we're dysregulated, we respond automatically and not intentionally. Our brain loves automation. So, especially when it's dysregulated, it does not have the capacity to stop and think and make an informed and intentional decision. It's going to go for what it knows every time. All right. So, without anchoring, clarity drops and reactivity increases. And that's how we find ourselves in these loops because we're just reacting instead of making informed decisions. Okay, when we're not grounded, we text before we think. We spiral, we overanalyze, we people please, we overexplain, we make decisions to reduce discomfort, not because they're aligned with our values. We just want the discomfort to come to an end. The responses are not random, they are driven by your nervous system. So, why this leads to the same dating patterns? Like I said earlier, automatic responses reinforce familiar outcomes. If we're responding automatically, it's going to be the same thing every time. The body reaches for what feels familiar, even if it's unhelpful. Insight alone does not stop the pattern if the nervous system is activated. When we are dysregulated, we are not making clear decisions. Do not make decisions when you're dysregulated. It's my little spiel. Without anchoring, the same cycles replay. Now we just have different people. So, what does it mean to anchor yourself? When we're anchoring ourselves, we're pausing, we're regrouping before we react. It's about staying connected to your body, to your values, remaining clear, responding intentionally instead of automatically, and supporting your nervous system so new patterns are possible. Some common dating triggers: ghosting or slow responses, mixed signals or inconsistencies, intense chemistry, fear of abandonment, uncertainty about where you stand. Now, these are just a few. There are a million more that we could name. the physiology of dysregulation. So these are very similar, actually the same, as trauma responses, right? So we have fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. So when we're fighting, we may be reacting, confronting, over texting. Flight means we kind of pull away, we avoid, we're numbing. Freeze, we shut down, we feel stuck. And then in fawning, we're people pleasing or over accommodating. Another important note, when activated, the brain will prioritize safety and not discernment. So, safety in that is going to do what feels familiar. For the brain, safety is familiar. Doesn't necessarily mean right. It's thinking very short term, so it may not be a good long term decision. It just wants the discomfort to come to a close. All right, so why regulation matters. Dysregulation lowers your clarity. Your impulsivity will increase. Decisions are driven by urgency or fear. And it's important to know that this is biology and not a personal failure. The example I give all the time is about babies. If babies, when they're hungry, if they're not fed within a certain time, they get very dysregulated and they start screaming bloody murder and changing shades. Okay. When you try to feed them, they're so angry, even if the nipple's on their tongue, they don't realize that what they want, which is food, is now available to them because they're so mad. And so you will hear people say to soothe the baby before you try to feed them again. Why? Because the baby needs to be regulated. And then it becomes very clear, very obvious. Oh, there's a nipple on my tongue and I'm hungry. I can now eat. Okay. So introducing the anchor plan. So the anchor plan is a simple process to return to yourself, regulate first, then we get clear, then we make a decision, right? So anchoring creates choice. We can't make a decision if we are dysregulated. It is too automatic. So we have to take care of ourselves first before we send that text message. All right, so for day one, your assignment is to identify your common dating triggers, notice your nervous system responses, reflect on how dysregulation affects decisions, and capture one key insight. So the workbook is available in my free school community. If you're looking at this video there, it will be included. If you're on YouTube, check the comment. I will post a link for you to join, or you could just journal based on these prompts. All right, so let's recap what we did today. We talked about what anchoring means, why dating triggers dysregulation, how our nervous system responds, and why regulation supports clarity and helps us break bad patterns in relationships and dating. All right, if you have any questions, just post in the comments and I will get back to you as soon as I can. All right, thank you for joining. Bye.